The church family at Hills Chapel would like to thank you for joining us online for this service. We pray that it will be a blessing to you and help facilitate another step in your spiritual journey. But we also want you to know that watching online should in no way replace your regular attendance to the church where God has called you to serve. If you do not regularly attend services, we would like to invite you to join us as we continue our journey to becoming more like Christ.
I'll go all the way up here. As most of you all know, I mean, I'm from this area. Like I said, born and raised, just right down the road. Look at me already, you make me nervous. Like I said, born and raised here around, I'll pretty much get right into the story. About 19 years old, I was married at the time. I had a pretty bad car wreck down in Otway at the Covered Bridge. And upon that car wreck, it placed me in the hospital for a while. And that's when the whole spiral of everything just started crashing down on me. Upon leaving the hospital, the doctor put me on some kind of I don't want to say strong medication, but it was a mild pain pill. And from there, I mean, to me, that's just where I seen everything just started crashing down around me, because I never really messed with anything like that. Even through high school, I mean, I smoked a little weed here and there, but I really wasn't about that scene. Sports and everything was pretty much on my go-to and everything. I left the hospital and I started, doing these pain pills and these opiates like I was supposed to. And I always thought once they started doing stuff like that, and after a while they take you off of it or wean you down or whatever, which never happened. This turned into like a couple years, turned into 3 years, and it just kept getting worse and worse. And then it wasn't long after that is whenever, I guess, people started getting aware of the pain pills and the pill mills and stuff like that. And pretty much started cracking down. Started closing them out, so it was making it harder way to find stuff like that. Well, the doctor I was seeing finally got investigated and was terminated from her duties. So therefore, the medicine that she was writing me every month, which was 3 times the legal dose that any human being should ever be taking, you just about imagine taking 430 pills a month to nothing because you're cut off from not having anything else. Things get a little hectic after a couple of days of not having that medicine. So things led one thing to another. Started on the streets, started hustling dope, pretty much doing the same thing everybody else was doing. And that's just when the whole, I call it a big downward hill spiral started. After that car wreck, for some reason, I lost my family all because of it. I lost my wife, my kids. I didn't see them for like a very long time, which I do now. But when it started getting real scarce up here with the pain medicine, you could still get it here and there. We was making trips to Florida. We was bringing back more pills than probably the Smith's drugstore could even seen. It was crazy how the things work in Florida. But that started getting to where it was starting to be a hassle and it was hard to get them. And I ended up going to New Orleans after Katrina hit, and being in a big city like that down there, pain medicine down there really wasn't a big thing, but black tar heroin was the only thing, and probably the only thing you could get down there. I spent better than 2 years down there working, got mixed up with a bad bunch of people, and it was really bad. And after being down there for a while, I come back home, and still, like I said, you could still find the opiates on the street, and it was just high dollars money. It just cost a lot of money in order to stay afloat. But that's when I got introduced. When I was down there, I got introduced to the heroin, and then I got introduced to IV drug use. And that's when everything just went down. It was like overnight, everything just changed for the worse. And when I come back home, I started looking around trying to find the same thing I was doing down there, which up here it hadn't hit here yet. So it turned into, back to Oxycontin, had to buy them on the street, paying 3 times what they was really worth, and they really wasn't worth nothing. But I had to start doing so many pills, like I was telling Jackie. I was doing probably 10 pills a day, and that turned in I was doing 10 pills every time. I mean, I was shooting 10 off the 80s every 4 or 5 hours in order just to keep up to where my body was functioning where I could still look like I was normal, which I wasn't normal at all. And this went on for 46 years old. I think it was probably better than 20 years. I've been an IV drug user for the last 15 years before I went into treatment. And I tell you, it's a lot of people. I mean, I try to make public arrangements and engagements and go talk to people about it and stuff because I don't want to see other kids, especially the young people sitting in here. I mean, be mindful, I mean, of what you get yourself mixed up in when people say, come out and let's go hang out and do this and whatever, man. Just, miss me on that today. I like to see people, flourish and not be in the same situation I was. But upon coming back to Ohio, after I left down there, it was just, you'd be surprised what you'll do in order to get that money or find that fix. And it was, well, it was bad. I can't really get into it because I don't like to really war story a lot about it because it gets me thinking about starting negative stuff. But I try to keep this down to 30 minutes at least because I get really nervous around much people. So just bear with me. I see you laughing at me. But I was with this girl on the East End. That's where pretty much I done all my dirt work at. We was together for 8 years, and that 8 years we was together, the first 3.5, 4 years of it, I took and I was lying about what I was doing. And she knew something was up, but she just couldn't put her finger on it. And she begged me and begged me and begged me, and I always kept telling her, I ain't doing nothing. And I said, you're thinking out of your mind or whatever. And all along, she already knew it. She just couldn't put her finger on it. Well, she caught me one day in the bathroom, working up something, and and it really got real bad. But after a while, she pretty much just gave in to what I was doing, and she started doing it with me, and it just led one thing after another. She had four teenage boys that we was trying to raise up. Me doing what I was doing, trying to hold down a job, and it was hard. I mean, it was really hard. It got so bad that she was trying to get better at it, and she just got tired of it. But I got put in jail for child support in Adams County, and they sent me to Butler County in Cincinnati, which I pulled almost a year. And in the meantime, when I was in jail, when I got out, she had left me. She moved out and everything and got away from me because she said she couldn't do it anymore, which, I respected that, but in my state of mind, I thought I was doing no wrong. And you would think someone having that kind of, dry time while you was in jail or whatever, you'd stay away from it and you got out. Well, first off wrong. I went straight back to doing the same thing I was doing. And April, let me see, it's been, I think this year, April will be 3 years. April Fool's Day. Her son calls me on Messenger and tells me that Mom's in the hospital. And I'm like, bro, today's April Fool's. I said, you ain't going to get me on that. He's like, Mom's in the hospital, she's dead. And I was like, bro, I said, that's not very funny. That's nothing to joke about. And he started crying, and I knew something was wrong. And so I go down to the hospital, and sure enough, they had pronounced her dead from a heroin / benzo, which is Xanax, overdose. We'd been split up probably a year prior to that happening, and for some reason, I don't know. I was still trying to fight her and get her back, all this. I was trying to change up a little bit, trying to slow down what I was doing. But once you're so far in and deep as I was, mixed up with the wrong people, it was hard to get out of that lifestyle. Once you're in so far, people think, you just walk away from it. It's just like a game. Once you're in it, you can't get out of it. It was. Doing home invasions in people's homes at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, people don't even know what's happening. Just kick their doors in and rob them and stuff like that. It's hard to get away from that, people. And finally it happened. But whenever she passed away, I remember sitting, there was a fishing spot in Portsmouth, they call it the Gut, down on the East End. I was up there sitting on top of the flow wall, and I was in my feelings a little bit, I done a little bit of stuff or whatever. And that's all I kept seeing was her face telling me, why didn't you quit? Why you had a chance? Why didn't you stop? Why didn't you stop? And I just kept replaying in my head. So after I got done doing that dope, I pulled that air back in that rig, 100 units of it, and I stabbed myself in the arm, and I hit myself 3 times with 300 units of air. And normally that would stop your heart. And it didn't. I mean, all it done was push my vein up real high, and I rubbed it out. I just sat there, I was like, all the dope and stuff I've done in my life, you know what I mean, and the stuff and the ramping and the people and just everything I was doing, I said, and that did not take me out. So I went back to Berg where I was staying at, and I just kept sitting there. I sat up all night long. I just couldn't figure out why in the world did that did not TKO me. I said, that should have killed anybody. The first unit, you know, should have done it right then. And it wasn't long after that, the guy I was staying with, his son showed up, and he said, hey, remember that day we was talking about a month ago, whenever you said after Amy passed away, you mean that you would try to start doing something different? Because after she passed away, a year went by that I went hard in the paint. I mean, I was doing anything and everything. I cheated death so much that I tell people all the time when they ask me, I was like, I don't even see how I'm still here. I don't know how I'm alive because, I mean, I had a stupid tolerance for drugs. I mean, I was shooting 10 grand guitar every day, and I did it for 10 years straight. Had a $100,000 business every year, you know, when I run it straight to the ground. Couldn't get anybody to work for me anymore. I couldn't even get jobs, but I mean, it don't take long for the word gets out. You need to have one in your house. And he came up to me and he said, I want you to call this phone number. You said you called with. And I was like, yeah. I said, I will. He said, no, do it right now. I'm like, man, I ain't really trying to go right now. He said, call him right now. So I called this place in Ironton. It's called New Beginnings Behavioral Health. I called them on a Friday and asked them if they could take me in. And they said, no, we're pretty booked up. And probably be like a 2-week, sometimes a month wait. I mean, places like that, you mean, it's a revolving door. People are in and out all the time. And it's just, you get lucky sometimes you catch a bed. Well, that Friday when I called him and I went ahead and told him, I mean, I was trying to get help and this and that or whatever. And most people, when they make them phone calls, they are not very serious. I mean, I really wasn't either, but I kind of was, I'm going to say I was forced, but I was forced into doing it pretty much. I was given an ultimatum, either do it or get out. And I had to have somewhere to live at, so I had to do it. I called back on a Monday morning, February the 6th. That is my clean date, February 6th of 2017. This February I'll have 3 years, God willing, that I make it that far, which I will. But anyway, I called him back up on that Monday morning and I said, I know you told me it's like a 2-week wait. I said, has anything changed? And she said, so happened, said, one of the clients had been caught with a secret cell phone, and he got ejected from the house, so there is a bed available. And I mean, that don't ever happen. I mean, that just never happens. And I was like, so what do I got to do to get that bed? She said, well, how bad do you want it? I said, believe it or not, I said, I think I want it pretty bad. She said, well, how soon can you be here? And I said, I can be there in 30 minutes. She said, well, make sure you pack enough clothes for 6 months. You mean you got to have 6 pairs of everything? And I was like, what do you mean 6 months? Oh, this is a 6 or 9 month program. And I kind of stepped back from the phone. And I was just like, whoa. I got to go somewhere with people I don't know for this amount of time? She said, yeah. So I got, all right. I sat around, I thought about it for a little bit, and I called him back, and I was like, all right, I said, I'll be on my way. So I go up here, and I get in this program. I walk into this office, and there's all these people sitting around. And the first thing, when you walk into a place like that, even though it's drug-related, you know, you feel like they're all looking at you like you're some kind of bad person. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're scum of the earth. Well, mind you, if Jonathan had that thing put up on here, you could see that picture they had of me. I mean, I was a walking dead man. I mean, I think I was 119 pounds whenever I went in the first day I went in. But I could hear the director sitting back there talking with one of the other the ladies from the rehab, and they said they wasn't even going to sit there and fill my assessment papers out. They wasn't even going to do the paperwork. They said, but he ain't going to stay. Why are we wasting our time on here? Mind you, I'm in earshot, and I could hear these people talking. And even though I was a wreck and really needed to be there, the first thing I said to myself, I said, you all don't know nothing about me. the lifestyle that I lived on the street, you know what I mean, I was somebody that you did not want to be around. You know what I mean? It didn't matter. You know what I mean? If I was going to get you, I'm going to get you. And it kind of gave me of a reputation, you know what I mean, of not someone to mess with. And I said, I kept replaying in my head. I was like, I can't believe they just said, man, I ain't worth the time and the effort. I'm like, then why did I call you? I was like, you know what? I said, I'm going to stay here just out of spite. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, I'm stubborn. You know what I mean? That's what I did. And they come out there and they said that, and I was like, are you really going to stay? I said, you know what? And her name was Miss Amy, too. And I was like, next time I said, you guys have conversations like that, I said, you might want to shut the door. I said, so, you know, people like myself, you know what I mean, don't hear you back here pretty much dogging me and saying, I'm not going to stay here. I said, but you know what? I said, go and get my bed ready. I said, I'm going to the house. And I stuck it out. And it wasn't very pleasant. I mean, people could understand a little bit more and, really understand it. Imagine a lot of people have an addiction to caffeine. They can't go an hour or so without drinking a pot and get a headache or whatever. I went straight from 9 grams of heroin to nothing in a 12-hour period. And I laid in that bedroom at that rehab for 33 days, and I went through the awfulest pain that anybody, I'd have rather had a car wreck 10 more times than feel that withdrawal. I mean, it was just unbearable. I don't know how I made it through it. I always thought you could die from it. Everybody said you could die from it. You can't die from it. We wish you could die, but alcohol is the only thing I know of that can actually TKO you from a withdrawal. But I'll tell you right now, after I laid that detox out, well, before I laid it out, I mean, I laid there in the bed. I think I was coming up like 28 days, 29 days, 30 days, something like that. I didn't sleep for the first 15 days. I mean, I couldn't sleep. My body's jerking, you know what I mean, defecating on myself all the time. I just couldn't get up. I had no strength. I mean, I was at my bare end. I kept thinking I was in this tunnel, and that's all I could see, laying in that bed, and it's like a long ways off. I could see like someone shining a flashlight or something. I don't know what you want to call it. This is the way I seen it. Felt like I was in a hole, and I couldn't. It's all right. Anyway, I was down in this hole so deep, I didn't think I'd ever get out. And I heard something say, I'm going to come down that hole with you. I said, why don't you want to come down this hole with me for? I said, I can't get out of here. He said, but I know the way. It's hard. But I ended up going to this church where I go to every day. They're probably wondering where I'm at. I didn't even tell them I was leaving. They've been trying to get me to do this story for them 3 years. And for some reason, I just never could. I couldn't do it. But after that night, I don't know, it's like I had a spiritual awakening. It was so weird. I never give that church a chance until that day. Starting that Wednesday, they have a Celebrate Recovery program. And one of the other clients come in and said, man, you ought to go. And I said, all right. From that day on, when I went to that church, I walked in that door, and mind you, if you just seen the way I looked, and I was in bad shape. This little lady come walking up to me. She's like my recovery mom. Her name is Miss Sharon. She walked over to me, and she went to give me a hug. You know what I mean? And I was kind of like just moving away from her. I was like, don't touch me. I mean, I was the type of person I just didn't want to be touched. I didn't like it. She come over and she put her arms around me, and she gave me a hug. She said, I love you. And I'm like, you don't even know me. I said, why are you touching me for? She said, it doesn't matter what you've done. She said, all that matters is why you're here. And I was like, okay. And I stayed there. So I went through the program, like 120 days through the program. I mean, I still been defiant. I mean, it was a 6-month to 9-month program I took and done. the first 120 days, I didn't get no phone calls, I didn't get no passes, I didn't get to do nothing because I was defiant. I mean, I did not do what the counselors wanted to do. I just faking it to make it. I didn't want to be there. I mean, it gives you a different mindset. I mean, you don't, looking back now, where I'm standing today, I mean, I'm like, man, you're a fool. I mean, but things happen. I mean, that's why I give you something to grow on or whatever. But I took and made it through the program up until my 120 days, still being an idiot, and this and that or whatever. And I get a letter in the mail from my youngest child, which she just recently turned 19 years old. I hadn't seen her since she was 5 years old, and she wrote me a letter and had it sent through my younger brother Kevin, his daughter, which is the only person that called and talked to me the whole time I was in there. And Ella wrote me that letter and she said, I'm really proud, that you're in there trying to change and trying to do something better. And she says, no matter what you've done in your lifetime and how you really are, whatever, she says, always remember, said, that you're still my dad and I love you. And from that point on, it's like something just switched me. And from the 120 days to 150 days, that's only a 30-day window. And from that 30 days, I made such a big change that they let me out on my 150th day. I even signed up. I signed up for this 9-month program. I wanted to save the extra time because you take somebody that's been on drugs 20 years of their life, you ain't going to get right in 6 months. I don't care what they say. I was still, at that point, I was struggling with it. So I took and I started switching up a little bit, and I started applying myself a little more, and I started going to church more. And I went and got baptized, and I got saved. And for someone like me, that's went through all that heartache, and all that problems, and all that dope, and all that running and gunning and stuff, like I was telling Jackie earlier, a lot of people that's been through the stuff I had, they have a hard time in treatments, they have a hard time in recovery, they can't stay clean, they don't want to stay clean, whatever. But from that day, when my pastor baptized me, I ain't had no using dreams. I don't think about drugs. It's just not part of my thought process. It's like I never even done it. He rubbed anointing oil on my arms and stuff. You can't hardly tell where I even shot dope at. It's all gone. And for someone, that's done as much as I have, I get told on a regular basis, how much of an inspiration I'm to people that I don't even know. Because they follow me on Facebook, but I don't post anything that's, derogatory. If it ain't, some type of faith or religious stuff or whatever, or something positive or whatever, I don't even mess with it. I ain't got no time for that in my life because I know if I make one bad decision, guess what's going to be? I see myself back in that bed, going through that 30 days with a detoxing again, and I ain't trying to live that life today. But I'm actually a board member at the church that I attend in Ironton that I've been ever since I've been up there. And this is my hometown, this is my home area, whatever, but Ironton actually is my home now because I've never met people in my life that would go to extreme to help someone like me. I wasn't nobody. Like I said, if a lot of you guys knew who I was back in the day, trust and believe. There's a couple of you here that probably do and maybe heard or whatever, but the things I did to people, and I asked God all the time. I said, why me? I said, what did you save me for? Who am I? He said, you're somebody. He said, you're mine. So I tell a lot of people anymore, especially for the younger generation, a lot of families in here, if you want to try to be more mindful about this drug epidemic and stuff like that, be real careful about medicines and stuff you got at home in your medicine cabinets and stuff. You never know, man, what you could take, before you know it. Then you got somebody laying on your floor, and they're dead or whatever. There's a good friend of ours from church. Their son was found in the bathroom smoking pot that had been laced with carfentanil, and he was 14 and found him dead from an OD because he did not know. That's what they're doing to it now because they're trying to get anybody and everybody on this stuff. People call me a snitch all they want. If I get somebody on that rah-rah stuff or whatever, I will not hesitate a bit to drop a line to the sheriff department and tell them to come and get them. And I will follow them until till they show up. I mean, they can say whatever because I used to be that guy, you mean? I used to be that person out here running your kids' life. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've sold dope to, you know what I mean, that I probably killed that don't even know. You know what I mean? I don't know how many people's lives I've run, how many families I've took, I mean, how many kids, people, I don't know. I don't really want to know. But I mean, I was that guy. But I'm just really glad to be here because this is like a spirit of the moment thing because I don't really try to get up here and talk that much because I just don't feel like I need to share a lot because I'm still in recovery. I mean, I've been out for almost 2.5 years, but it takes a lot of strength to get up here and talk to people because you'd be surprised how many people look up here at you, you know what I mean, and actually judge you. You know what I mean, for what you was and what you did and all this and that or whatever. Today, I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care. You want to judge me, that's your fault. You know what I mean? You got to stand before the man, you know what I mean, and answer to that. I don't. You know what I mean? I changed my life for the better. I got a good job now. Like I said, I'm a member of my church. I got a baby coming in April, which I don't understand how that happened. Wow. But things has really progressed and then things has gotten really good. And, you know, when you put God first, trust and believe, things happen for a reason and good things follow from it. And I've had blessing after blessing after blessing. I mean, I've had my recovery story printed in a book. It's on Amazon. It's called Get Clean, Stay There. I'm getting ready to do it again. I'm going to add to it. And the lady that done it for it before, she messaged me, I don't know, about 3 weeks ago and asked me if I could find 30 people or so that could fill the book or whatever. And I told her, yeah. I've gotten like 56 people that's going to put their recovery story in. And hopefully I can get enough of it. She's going to send me a email, like transcript of it or whatever. I'm going to try to email it to some people that I know. Probably send Jonathan one. But, you know, people could change. I mean, I'm living proof of it. I mean, the best part of the whole situation is my mom ain't going to get that phone call, say I'm dead, which I'm going to go see her as soon as I leave here. My mom, man, she was my biggest enabler. She hated seeing me sick. And the last time I seen her before I got into treatment was on 3 years ago on Christmas. She went to walk in my Aunt Linda's trailer. She went to walk in the bathroom, and here I'm sitting on the toilet with a needle hanging out my arm and faded. And she didn't say a word. She just walked back in and sat down in the front room. But what she understood, but she wouldn't understand was that the money that she gave me that day is what got me high. You know what I mean? And my mom was my biggest enabler. I was a mama's boy. Mama didn't want to see me sick. She said, I don't know what you're doing, but here's the money, go get yourself better, you know what I mean? I can't stand to see it like that. And I knew I could play on that, you know what I mean? I'm a mastermind manipulator. Trust me, I'm going to get mine. And I was good at it. But, like I said, you know, I don't think about drugs anymore. I don't live that lifestyle. I try to help as many people as I can. And almost 3 years that I've been in rehab, you know what I mean, I've kept like 100-some people from leaving treatment or whatever, give them something better to look at. I'll sit down and talk to them. I've worked in pretty much every rehab they are from Lawrence County to Portsmouth, but I stay out of Portsmouth. I go see mom, that's it, and I leave. I don't need to be down there. But I don't know. I always tell a lot of people, you know what I mean, drug addicts ain't bad people, we just make bad decisions. You know what I mean? Everybody can recover from anything if you put your mind to it and you really set your mind. You gotta change your way of thinking, you gotta change your heart. You change your heart, you can do anything. And the day I think God told me, he said that I'm gonna crawl down that hole and we'll get you out because I know the way. And that's what I did. But I don't really have anything else to add with that because rambling. It's really kind of difficult to stay up here and look at people in the face and tell them this stuff because I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't still feel like I'm lightweight judged by people because I always had that feeling because, I mean, I'm an ex-drug addict. You know what I mean? I've wrecked a lot of people's lives and stuff. Not saying anybody here I've done that too, but it's still, that's a feeling you get and it takes a while to get over it. And other than that, I mean, it's just, I couldn't be more happier today. I mean, I live a good life. I mean, I'm happy. I got a good sound recovery group. I got a nice church. I mean, our CR program, man, we bring in probably 150, people every Wednesday night. And still 3 years later, they still use me as an example up there of what not to do on heroin. And they'll put my picture up on the wall, and just people they just can't believe it. And I get these people off to the side as new in treatment, so I tell them, I'm like, listen, you guys been dibble-dabbling, with drugs, just for a couple months, 3 months, a year, or whatever. I said, try doing it for 20 years. If you guys think that stuff, that's easy or whatever, it's not easy. A full-time job is easy compared to chasing drugs for 20 years. That's a job. That's hard work, and it's terrible, so it never stops. I'm just glad to be over it. I'm done with it. I'm being done with it. I wish I never would have started, but I can't take that back. This is what made me. This is what I do today. I follow God, I do what I can for other people, and that's pretty much all I got.